Back on January 9th, something kind of flew under the radar, that being a certain response from the Joint Chief Executive Officer at CD Projekt Red, Mikhail Nowakowski. And so this user Bucket had responded to Nowakowski on Twitter, Bucket saying, "I love how they keep pushing the word that they still have staff who worked on the previous Witcher titles like we don't know they lost the prime meat from the bone. They also don't want to openly talk about those Sweet Baby Inc. employees working for them now." Nowakowski actually seeing this and responding to it, saying, "We are not working and have never worked with Sweet Baby. Never even heard of them until recently, TBH. Also, we have not lost prime meat, as you put it." This is not the first time Nowakowski had talked about not losing prime meat, so to speak. Back in October, he made a tweet saying that CD Projekt Red has had the lowest rotation of people in recent years. And back to the current response from Nowakowski, we've got this reply that a user had made 19 minutes ago saying, "You may not be working with SPI directly, but you have embraced everything they stand for." And showing a video from 2 years ago where CD Projekt Red actually said deep dive approach to ESG. Hopping over to that video, we can see that it's got over 100,000 views and just over 400 likes, with top comments such as, "Looks like the Corpo ending was canon." And the Cyberpunk handbooks literally mock this stuff and state it as being the outright disruptive stuff that it is. Imagine having an anime studio save your reputation from the tatters it was in, to the point they had to fight you on a ton of design and writing so as to make it good, to immediately turn around and self-sabotage this hard work anyways. According to my recollection, one example of that was the whole Rebecca situation, where CD Projekt Red was like fighting Studio Trigger because they didn't want Rebecca to be included in Cyberpunk Edgerunners. And we got that famous quote from Studio Trigger, the quote being, "The lolly must stay."
What happened was I was one of the people on the creative team to actually vote Rebecca out of the original cast during pre-production. Because what happened was that CD Projekt Red first got the character design for Rebecca, and they were like, "She's a lowly. Lowlies don't exist in Night City. It doesn't fit the Cyberpunk 2077 aesthetic." But Trigger was like, "No, the lowly must stay."
Yeah, you know, we've got like giant Borgs like Adam Smasher. We've got people doing all sorts of body augmentation and stuff. Dudes got literal like mantis blades coming out of their arms. But hey, Rebecca, yeah, that Rebecca character is just too far. That's not realistic. Night City wouldn't have that. What a bunch of cope, man. Sounds like some of them were just like personally offended by Rebecca. Hopping back over to CD Projekt Red's video about their deep dive approach to ESG, which for those not aware is intrinsically linked to DEI, as DEI is terminology that corporations largely propagated in their approach to securing things like ESG funding from various governments. The video itself does have music playing in the background, which I'm not sure might trigger the copyright bots on YouTube. You know how that can be. So we'll take a look at some of the transcript here, where they say, "We believe that our primary means of influencing the world at large is by developing games which can enrich gamers' perceptions. This is why we do not shy away from confronting socially important topics in the stories we tell. Our games depict social inequalities, the various paths people take through life, and the problems they face. We want to make sure that the characters populating the worlds we create represent a diverse set of mindsets, social groups, and backgrounds." Presumably that section is what led to the other top comment there that was on screen earlier that reads, "The goal is now to enrich my perception through important social topics. No thanks, guys. I just want fun games with good stories." Another comment reading, "Translation, from now on, the Witcher games and Cyberpunk games are going to receive the same treatment that the Witcher series got. A complete disrespect for its fans, its main characters, and stories. That's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see how it plays out." And from only 3 months ago, a response to that comment reads, "Thankfully, the world is healing. It played out poorly. Now companies are scared of being associated with DEI and ESG, including CD Projekt Red CEO. But it's too late." That comment also getting a rather interesting response that reads, "BlackRock et al. Told everyone to start trying to distance their DI messaging due to backlash whilst maintaining quote-unquote the work in the background. Nobody is scared. They're just trying to become more sneaky because people noticed what was happening." And it seems like that could go either way, really. It's becoming kind of semantical. One could argue that means they're scared, and one could argue it doesn't, I suppose, depending on how you look at it. There is also, of course, that bridge stuff that's been getting discussed. And on top of that, there's also been some companies attempting to change DEI to IND, inclusion and diversity. So dropping the E acronym. But ultimately, let's not forget what started this entire discussion for today's video to begin with. That being Nowakowski's response on Twitter, the response to Bucket, where he did mention Sweet Baby Inc. and denied being associated with them, denied having worked with them rather. That doesn't seem to really mean all that much, as there's many different DI consultation firms. Sweet Baby Inc. is just one of the more well-known ones at this point. And hypothetically, even if CD Projekt Red is not working with any of those firms, they are still ultimately way off the DEI deep end, according to various executives at their own company and, for example, their own company website. So yeah, like I said, simply saying that they haven't worked with Sweet Baby Inc. doesn't really mean much of anything in my opinion. Regardless, it is interesting that Nowakowski, once again the joint CEO of CD Projekt Red, felt compelled to respond to that comment by Bucket and even make a public statement saying that they haven't worked with SBI. Let me know what you think about that and why you may think he even made that response to begin with. As always, thanks for tuning in. Consider liking and or subscribing if you enjoyed the coverage, and I'll see you in the next one.